In Syria, government forces have neutralized more than 400 extremists, recapturing terrorist held areas in the cities of Aleppo and Idlib. The government of Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni faced a second general strike motivated by the country's largest trade unions on Friday. Thousands of Amazon workers protested in more than 20 countries during Black Friday to press for better worker rights and climate actions from the U.S. retailers. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrera from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We'll be with the news. Stay with us. In Syria, government forces have neutralized more than 400 extremists, recapturing terrorist held areas in the city of Aleppo and Idlib. The Syrian army counteroffensive has been maintaining the last 3 hours against the positions of the Jabhat al-Nusra terrorist group and its allies sponsored by Western powers. Syrian troops have carried out their operations in the towns of Ariya and Sarmara, which have been under siege by the extremist fighters in the province of Idlib. Military sources explain that after containing the massive terrorist attack, the Syrian military, with the support of the Russian aviation and allied militias, managed to recapture the towns of Khan Alsa, in addition to Tal Ruken Hill and the police school in Aleppo. As part of the siege by the extremist groups, at least 4 civilians were killed by missiles at the University of the city of Aleppo. The terrorists also left more than 1,000 wounded, where the Syrian army repelled 5 rounds of attacks on the city of Anadan on the southwestern side. The Lebanese armed forces denounced the Israeli occupation army for numerous violations of the ceasefire agreement less than 24 hours from its implementation. The Lebanese armed forces said that on the 27th and 28th, Israeli forces violated several times the ceasefire agreement. This consists of air raids and attacks with different weapons on the territory. On Wednesday, in the first hours of the effective day, the Zionist troops were reported by civilians against whom they fought to intimidate the return to their homes. An international press team was also attacked by occupation forces. The Lebanese army assured that it is conducting an investigation with the relevant authorities. The Israeli occupying forces have committed 3 new massacres in the last 24 hours in the Gaza Strip, claiming at least 33 alive and injuring 137 others. Palestinian authorities denounced that Israel goes on with its genocide against civilians, killing thousands of Gazan families in the latest 24 hours. The Gaza Health Ministry briefed that since October 7, 2023, the Palestinian death toll amounted to over 44,363, while the figure of wounded surpassed 105,070 people. The Israeli regime dropped shell-ins on a 5-floor building al-Saiti in Gaza's southern town, killing a young man and injuring several others on Thursday evening. Furthermore, the Israeli drones even target paramedic teams to stop them from providing medical assistance, murdering the head of the intensive care department at Kamal Aran Hospital in northern Gaza.
How many TV channels are there? Are they all blind and have dead hearts? They do not hear, see, or feel. They do not hear the screams of orphans or the screams of mothers at night, and they do not see us running and carrying bags all day long because a tank is at the door. Who do I appeal to? We are tired of meetings and programs, and we are fed up with the news. No one feels for us.
The UN World Food Programme (WFP) has called again on powers to guarantee access on basic supplies into Gaza, warning that all bakeries in its central regions are shut down. On social network X, the UN agency stated that all bakeries in central Gaza have shut down due to severe supply and shortages. Bread is a lifeline for many families, often the only food they can access. Now, even that is splitting out of reach. WFP continues its call for safe and secure access of vital humanitarian aid into Gaza. Countries around the world celebrate International Day of Solidarity with the people of Palestine in the midst of the genocidal operations carried out by the Israeli army in the Gaza Strip. On November the 29th, the international community is focused on the defense and struggle for a free and independent Palestine after the approval of Resolution 181 in 1947 in the United Nations, stipulating the creation of a Jewish state and an Arab state in Palestine. However, only a part of this reform has been accomplished, that is, the creation of the Israeli state. This way, the international community reaffirms its historical claim for an independent Palestinian state in the midst of the Zionist genocide, which has claimed lives of more than 44,000 civilians since October 7, 2023. In this regard, the President of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, said, International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people, an occasion to reaffirm the firm and historic position against the policy of extermination carried out by the Zionist government of Israel against Palestine. We are deeply pained by the crimes being committed daily against the children, women, and men of Palestine, the sacred land of all, which today is suffering a life homicide. The most important battle that humanity has is for the human homeland, for the liberation of Palestine, and from Venezuela. We are doing everything possible so that solidarity is expressed in the concrete terms. The Palestinian people deserve justice, and with the support of all humanity, sooner rather than later, will win. Well, the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, said in a statement, this year, as we commemorate this solemn date, we reflect on the painful reality that the fundamental goals of peace, dignity, and justice for the Palestinian people seems more unattainable than ever. Let's take a very short break, but remember, you can now join us on our TikTok account at teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. The government of Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni faced a second general strike summoned by the country's largest trade union on Friday. The General Italian Confederation of Labor and the Italian Labor Union called for the rallying against the 2025 general budgets. In addition, they are demanding pay raises, including pensions, ramping up funds for health, education, and public services. Furthermore, the protesters announced the national and international air and maritime transport will stop from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. local time on Friday. Moreover, medical services will further join these peaks, including the essential ones. So far, unions have prepared demonstrations all over the nation.
The government has ordered us to work to prevent us from striking, after passing a budget law without consulting the unions in any way. They want our silence, and they want to enforce it by force. Today, we will show that workers can stand up for themselves and fight against a government that is against workers.
We are out here with all the workers to protest against this financial bill, which fails to provide contracts with adequate economic recognition for all workers, including those in healthcare and beyond. Our demands are for the renewal of contracts, lowering taxes, and implementing tax rate that don't take away half of your salary.
For almost 2 weeks, the Canadian Union for Postal Workers has been on strike against Canada's post rallying for dismissing those in picket lines, among other concerning issues. According to the Canadian Labour Code, no workers can be fired in the middle of a strike. In this regard, the union leaders of over 55,000 workers assure such intimidating measures intended to spread fear over protesters. Meanwhile, the Minister of Labour and Seniors Stephen McKinnon just said that the special mediators appointed by the federal government is temporarily off duty. As a result, there have been hundreds of these missiles, even though the Canadian Union has not confirmed the accurate figure yet. Thousands of Amazon workers protest on strike in more than 20 countries during Black Friday through press for worker rights and employment actions from U.S. retaliators. Workers and representatives from unions and workers groups joined protests against the Seattle-based company's practices between Black Friday and Cyber Monday, one of the biggest shopping weekends in the year. The actions is planned in big cities across the U.S., Germany, the U.K., Turkey, Canada, India, Japan, Brazil, and other countries. It is coordinated by the Amazon Pay company, which calls on Amazon to pay its workers fairly and respect their rights to join unions, pay its fair share of taxes, and commit to environmental sustainability.
We came in the seats because this should be reached to the parliament, this should be reached to the media houses, this should be reached to the general public, that when you order something through apps, and the things come to you in just one click away. There is a reality going in the background at every step of the packaging, delivering, the workers getting exploited. So that's why we are on the streets.
If you look at the working conditions there, it is bad. The way of getting the work done there is that one has to achieve a lot of targets. Our basic salary is $119, which should be at least a minimum of $295. And the environment there is to work under pressure.
Chad announced its determination to break security and defense cooperation agreements with France. Through a communique, the government informed about the decisions to end the cooperation agreement. However, it emphasized that the decision does not question the historical relations and friendly ties between the two nations. Chad was the latest country with a French military presence in the Sahel following the withdrawal of the French troops from Mali, Burkina Faso, and Nigeria. The African country's announcement comes just hours after the visit of the head of the French diplomacy, Jean-Noël Barrot.
This is a fruitful visit that will strengthen our bilateral relations in every respect. France is an essential partner, but it must now also consider that Chad has grown up, Chad has matured, Chad is a sovereign state that is very jealous of its sovereignty.
In Australia, Parliament on Friday passed a world-first law banning to use social media by teens under 16. The bill will make platforms such as TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram liable to fines of up to $33 million for systematic failures to prevent children under 16 from having accounts. The Senate passed a bill on Thursday by a vote of 34 to 19. On Wednesday, the House of Representatives overwhelmingly approved the legislation with 102 votes in favor. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said the bill supports parents' concern about their children being harmed online. Social platforms have a year to decide how to implement the ban before sanctions are imposed.
Because at present, we still face the same problem that young people will be off the platform until they turn 16. Then the moment they turn 16, they're eligible to get an account with no education, no guidelines, no one there to hold their hand through understanding what could and couldn't be good decisions on these sorts of platforms. That's my biggest concern with it.
Let's take our last break, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, where you'll be able to watch on interviews, top stories, special broadcasts, and more. Hit the subscribe button and active the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. For financial breakdown, go away. Welcome back. In southern Thailand, flooding triggered by 3 days of heavy rains killed one person and displaced thousands, with more days of rain forecast. The head of the Narathiwat Province Department's of Disaster Management and Migration, Wasan Shaita Wengwon, reported that the floods killed one student and displaced more than 2,700 people. The official added that the prolonged rains had also forced the suspensions of 65 local schools. Heavy rain warning remains in effect with continuous rains forecast across 70% of the province until earlier December. In Colombia, a building collapse in Barranquilla has resulted in the death of a woman and the rescue of 4 children from the rubble. Colombian military officials confirmed the incident, which took place in the residential area of the city. Emergency response teams worked to allocate and extract the children who were found alive in the debris. Authorities are now investigating the cause of the collapse, raising concern about construction standards and safety regulations in the region. This incident underscores ongoing issues related to urban infrastructure in Colombia, where similar tragedies have occurred due to the inadequate enforcement of the building codes.
I saw parts of the walls coming down, but I didn't really believe the building was going to collapse. I looked out several times to check. Sometimes I could see it tilting, but I thought it was the effect of the light or something. But when I went out to look for my wife, my sister called to tell me that the building had collapsed.
Also in Colombia, the government moved forward in the legislations for the distribution of land among rural women. The initiative seeks to promote the social and economic welfare of the sector and is part of the initiative towards an agrarian reform in the country and a close shortage in the gap. Decree 1396, signed by President Petro, Vice President Francia Marquez, and Minister of Agriculture Martha Carvajalino. The regulation establishes, among other things, that the Ministry of Agriculture and the Rural Development Agency will provide assistance in the structuring, promotion, and management of the resources for rural women at an individual and family and community level. Also, beneficiaries will be able to access preferential lines of credit to finance their activities. During a historic ceremony, Uruguayan Education Secretary Daniel Enrique Esponda declared the Western Department of Copan to be free of illiteracy. These achievements of the National Illiteracy Program, promoted by the government of President Xiomara Castro, has taught more than 383,000 people to read and write. Today, 7 departments and 252 municipalities are free of illiteracy. Honduras expects to completely end illiteracy by the first quarter of 2025. The Nicaraguan Parliament approved on Thursday an important reform to the general law on immigration and foreigners with the aim of guaranteeing the protection of national sovereignty. The legislature has also introduced amendments to the penal code in order to modernize and strengthen the nation's legal framework. Parliamentarians stressed during the session that the law aims by strengthening border controls to combat organized crimes, human trafficking and smuggles, as well as tourism and threats to the territory.
To strengthen our legal framework, to adapt it to the new times, in order to strengthen border controls at the national level, and guarantee citizen security, positioning our country as one of the safest countries in the region.
We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials from Facebook, on X, and on Instagram as well. For Telesur English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.